this is Charlie from DJ, noDJ, and Grud. I'm going to show you how to use the Electroharmonix V256 vocoder with a guitar MIDI pickup and Mainstage. The Electroharmonix V256, this is the vocoder. It can be used to mess up your voice in a bunch of different ways, but the vocoder is the main one, and I'll show you how to set that up. For an explanation of what a vocoder actually is or how it works, check out the link I'm putting in the description of this video. Really what you need to know is that it sounds like this, and it's really cool. You can control it with an instrument and basically make yourself sound like a robot, which is awesome. Most times a vocoder is done using, like, you have a synth and you send that signal to the vocoder and then you talk and you control the frequencies that you hear from that synth with your voice. I have never found that to work as well as what the V256 does, which has its own internal synth and you control that synth with your voice. It just is clearer and better than all the other things I've tried. I'm sure there's better options, but this is what I've found to work the best. Alright, so I said we're using the internal synth in the V256. It doesn't look much like a synth, you can't play it. But you can send MIDI to it through the 5-pin connector right here. Here's the output, here's the connector, the 5-pin. And you need to send that from your computer through the Mainstage program, and that will tell the V256 which notes you're playing, which is important because your voice, again, is just controlling the frequencies that you hear from the V256, but you still have to tell it what notes to play, and that's through the 5-pin MIDI. There's a number of ways of sending MIDI signal from the computer to the V256. What you're definitely going to need is, since the computer doesn't have a 5-pin output on it, what you're going to need to do is get one of these, or something similar. It'll connect USB to the computer, and there will be two ends on the opposite end. One of them is MIDI 5-pin out, one of them is MIDI 5-pin in. And you want to connect the out to the V256. Alright, so I'm opening up Mainstage here. I'm just opening up a blank document. And since I've connected the USB to the computer and the 5-pin to the V256 correctly, the next thing to do is to make sure that your MIDI signal, which for me is coming from my guitar synth, but from you could come from your keyboard or whatever, is sending signal, the correct signal, to the V256, and this is how you do it. Hopefully you understand a lot of this stuff already. If you don't, there's tons of tutorials on how to do some of this stuff, but basically, like, I made a keyboard, you usually have one. I'm going to assign it to my guitar synth. So basically when I press assign, I can just play whatever my thing is and it'll recognize it. That's good. I'm going to name it whatever I want. In my case, I'm going to name it guitar, and you're going to need that later, so that's important. Alright, so I guess I should go back. Basically, channel, this is MIDI channel 1 through 16. I'm choosing channel 1. That's your preference. That doesn't matter. This is the MIDI in channel that's going to control this thing. That does not matter what channel you choose here. But a different channel does matter, and I'll show you in a second. Alright, so if I go to the edit screen there, over here in the channel strip, I'm at the concert level. You could be on one patch if you want, but I'm going to do it at the concert level. I'm going to add a new channel strip. Usually it's going to be on software instrument if you're going to make a new synth sound or whatever, but instead I'm going to choose external instrument. If you do this at the concert level, be careful you're not overwriting any other things. If you do this at the concert level and choose external instrument, it might assume that all the other stuff you've done for all the other patches, which I don't have any here, all you want instead is an external instrument, so it'll erase everything you've done, so be careful. I've chosen external instrument, MIDI input, I named it guitar, and that's what it's seeing, so this is basically what I'm doing is I'm choosing a MIDI signal that I'm already playing and sending it. We're going to send it to the V256. So MIDI input guitar, MIDI output. Mine is on port 2, Vucon. That's just the name of whatever my MIDI, my USB to 5-pin converter that I just talked about is called Vucon. Port 2 happens to be the out on the MIDI. Port 1 is the in. So make sure you're choosing that correctly. This could be totally named differently. It depends on what product you buy. But hopefully your Mainstage will be set up to see that right away and you'll be able to figure that out. MIDI channel has to be 16. It absolutely has to be 16. That's the only one that the V256 works with. They don't put that in the manual. I'm not sure why, but very important. Format mono doesn't matter. Input 1 doesn't matter. Output 1 doesn't matter. So create that. This is going to warn you to not override all the other things you've got. So don't worry about that since I've only got one thing here, but just be careful if you've got an existing concert and you want to do this. Alright, so I've made that. It's over here. So now I am sending MIDI signal on channel 16 from the computer to the V256. That will tell it what notes to play. Alright, so on the V256, you have to be on Vox-Robo 1. Vox-Robo 2 and Vox-Robo 3 are the same thing. If you want 3 different types of vocoders saved in 3 different presets, you can do that. But don't worry about that for now. Check out the V256 manual to understand more about that. Now, you want the blend all the way up. Bands at 50%. Tone, I have it about 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. I guess that doesn't matter. Gender bender at halfway. Wait. Yes, gender at halfway. Pitch all the way down. Pitch all the way down. And mode, you should be on Vox-Robo. That's this last knob. Yep, that's my finger. Make sure your mic is on low gain and make sure that your phantom power is off. I don't suggest using phantom power mics with this thing. I suggest just using a 58. Most mics have trouble with this thing. Very important that you get a mic that works with this thing. So, normal 58. Mine says binge on it. Alright, so everything should be set up. You should just be able to sing into the mic and or talk, whatever you want. Play your instrument, and everything should come out of the out of the V256. And I guess it'll sound like this. Check 1 1 2 3 2. Work it, make it, do it, make sense. Let's say, I don't know, that just feels a little dry. I put it into another vocal processor, put a little bit of reverb, and even put an octave below on it. Work it, make it, do it, make sense. One thing I should say is that the vocoder feeds back really easily in a live setting, and so when I play live, I ask for absolutely no vocoder in my monitor. Alright, comment with any questions.